Hi again, everybody. You know, piling in the car and heading out on the road is a time-honored tradition in American families and full of opportunities for picture taking. It is a grand thing to go on vacation with your family. You know, what I want to do is turn your thinking around a little bit as to what a traditional vacation picture is and all that it could be. So let's look, even if it's Mount Rushmore or the Statue of Liberty or some other famous place, most pictures of them look the same. Now in this case I threw the statue over to the left just so it wouldn't be too much the same, but they seem to be photographed from all the same spots over and over again. Why is that? So many times we're growing up as kids, we're all taught to stand in a row like a picket fence and squint into the sun and smile. So you have the same painful looking formation over and over again. But with the background changing to the Grand Canyon, to the Golden Gate Bridge, it's all the same people standing stiff, but with these different backgrounds that happen to be famous. Now, if that trips your shutter, then fine. But what I'm saying is that's probably not the best picture you can make at these very famous vacation destinations. Instead, I say, why not shoot candids, make it real, or shoot something thoughtful or different? You know, I'm always looking for the best pictures that I can make, no matter where I go. So if I can get my family in the scene too, that's fabulous. Let's take a look at one of the most famous landmarks in my hometown and how we handle it photographically. Take a look. All right, so let's talk about being on vacation, shall we? We work all year to be able to go on vacation. And what do we want to do? We want to take pictures, of course, and usually we go to places that will yield great pictures. I am at one such place. This is the Nebraska State Capitol building in Lincoln. So let's pretend I'm on vacation. I've traveled a long way to get here and I want to do great pictures, and oh my goodness, it's cloudy as can be and dark and dingy outside. What do we do? What do we do? This is our time. You know, if you're with a group tour or your family members are putting pressure on you, you can't hang around here till the weather breaks. You have to do what you can with what you're given. So let's see. Let me take a picture real quick. Let's see how this looks. Looks just like I thought. You expose for the sky, the building goes super dark. You expose for the building, the sky blows out terribly white. So, you know what? The answer is no right now to the question, should I take a picture? So this is tough. What do we do? What do we do? We have to make pictures. This is our one time to be here. Well, we can do a couple things. We can do architectural shots, close-ups of the building, so we cut the sky out, because the sky's too big for me to light with my flash, obviously, right? The sky's too big, the building's too big, forget it. So we can do architectural details, or we can wait and come back later when the house lights dim, when it gets a little darker out and the lights on the building come up. That might be a good time to take a picture. But really, the easiest thing is to come back on a day when it's sunny and the sun is very low in the sky, dawn or dusk. All right, since we can't do that, why don't we go inside and look around? This is a very ornate, fabulous, fabulous building. And I'm sure there's lots of pictures to get, and we won't be fighting this bright white sky at all. So let's go inside and look around, see what we can get. Okay, so we've walked all around the outside of the building, shot some architectural details, really neat. Still kind of a great day outside. So we've come inside, and wow, what a fabulous place. It's a temple. And this place was built in the Depression for cash. They paid cash as they went. It is a fabulously opulent building inside. I did my homework before I came, as you folks could too. Do your homework when you go to a place so you don't get unpleasantly surprised when you get home from vacation, only to find that you missed a bunch of good stuff. So I've done my homework. I knew that this place was fabulous on the inside, of course. Carvings everywhere, buffalo carved in white marble, corn cob shaped brass doorknobs on things. I'm looking around. It's very, very fabulous, but I know that the best thing of all, because I've done my homework, are these mosaic tile floors here. And this is actually the history of life on this floor right here. And I'm thinking, well, how can I show this? I can't really get it all in. I'm thinking, is there a place to go that's up to show an overview? And look, right up there, that's the spot. So we're gonna go up there and try it from above and see what we get. I think it'll be fabulous. Okay, so we've moved up here, overlooking the tile floor, and just as I suspected, it is killer. It is excellent. It's great empty, but it's really good with people walking through it, and it's even better if we take our friends and family and put them down there. I've tried photographing my friends and family from all angles down there. Not so good. You know what? You come up here, man, it's awesome. It's really awesome, especially when you spread them out on the floor and have them hold hands. How can you miss? Really outstanding. I mean, it's awesome. It's like this building was made for good pictures. So, you know, this is something that anybody can do. Instead of just standing people up stiff as a board, why not have some fun, and why not take advantage of great looking situations and think your way through it and put people where they need to be? I mean, nobody's gonna kill you for laying around on a tile floor in a public building, are they? I don't think so. It makes good pictures. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. Mission accomplished. Well, as you can see, I'm really serious about the potential of a good floor. It's a great, clean background a lot of times, and you don't want to overlook it. Like the floor in the farmhouse kitchen, you remember that pattern floor, checkerboard? The floor in the State Capitol building offered a really interesting and exciting background, also gave us a really unique picture of friends and family in the building. You can bet that there aren't any postcards in the gift shop with people you love lying on the floor. So let's talk a bit about what to pack for picture taking on vacation. Here's what I take: extra film or digital storage cards, extra batteries. Don't forget a charger for those batteries too. Without the charger, you're done. Keep a list of the gear you're taking, along with serial numbers in case something is lost or broken. Your favorite lenses, wide to telephoto. You want to be able to handle anything you come across. External flash and sync cord to get the flash off the camera. Tripod and a cable release, okay? Now keep a list of all that gear at home too, so you have it in two places. In case your list of gear gets stolen out of your car, you want all your serial numbers recorded at home in case you want to file it with insurance. Know what you have. Just keep track of it. Once gear is all together, now you're ready to shoot, right? But be sure to keep an open mind. It's a great big world out there, brim full of visual potential. And these famous visual landmarks, you will have seen them a million times since you were a kid, and you're going to want to shoot them the same way. But I'm telling you, do them differently, please. So take the St. Louis Arch, for example. This is a very standard picture, very standard. But I also shot this like this, little airplane flying over it, or with my son Cole at the base of it. This one I like the best. The light's nice, a little bit of ambient light in the sky, a little bit of man-made light, a little color there. Cole gives it perspective. What next? Delicate Arch in Utah. Delicate Arch. You know about Delicate Arch. I think we've seen that before in this course. A guy's lining his family up in there. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Kind of a standard picture. But once more, it's the people around it that gives us the sense of size. Look at how massive it is when you look at it this way. Holy cow. It is really impressive and massive. And that guy down the bottom, he's got a little beam of light on him, really shows off the place. A lot different picture than the other one. And one that I hadn't seen before, one the Geographic hadn't seen. And so that's the type of picture I like. It makes it into the magazine, and it makes it in a fairly large way. A new spin on an old subject. I always try to do something new with the familiar then. And by the way, I really, really don't just like it. I love to do that. In fact, I make my living doing that. Let's look at a few more. Mount Rushmore, for example. Mount Rushmore. Okay, you know what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Nice subtle light, that's fine. But let's get up early. Let's see the whole mountain. Let's see the clouds with all the pink. See the difference, right? This a little bit later in the morning. No clouds at all. It's better to get up early, let me tell you. I hate getting up, by the way. I hate getting up early. If I'm serious about pictures, I have to do it. That red light on the mountain was an amazing sunrise. You can sleep and eat anytime, but that light's only really sweet twice a day. If you're lucky, take advantage of that. Don't miss it. Don't miss a second of great light. What else can you do with Mount Rushmore? Get in a little closer. Look at that. It's carved from that mountain right there. Amazing. Or closer yet. Wow, look at that. You really have never seen Jefferson before with all these veins of marble going through his face, marble and granite. Very cool, very interesting. You know, one reason that I don't actually enjoy my vacations if I'm shooting seriously is because I take gear and I do work it, but I love the results. And I do relax in the middle of the day. I rest up when the light is bad outside. I do take it easy in the middle of the day, but you know what? That light's only good twice a day. You cannot help it. You can't help, you have to get up early and you have to stay out late if you're serious, okay? Let's look at another one, Statue of Liberty. Did you know the Statue of Liberty looked like that from the back? You didn't, did you? I didn't either until I went there, and I thought, why is it I've never seen a picture of this statue from the back? People just don't shoot it. Everybody shoots it from the front. Well, what else? I did tight shots of the torch, tight shots from underneath. It really helps to have a nice long lens with you, really does. And look at this. Seagulls flying all around the base, a little bit slower shutter speed, showing some movement in those seagulls. And then late in the day, there's all these tourism helicopters that fly around her and show tourists what the torch looks like from above, what the crown looks like lit. Now we've got these lights coming up, the twilight's dimming, and we really can do some nice things with light there. Even very, very late in the day. So all these things, right? You know what else? There's a park right at the base of it where people from all over the world come and they gather at the base of the Statue of Liberty and they have little picnics out there with the New York City skyline right in the background. I didn't know that either. That's excellent. One more thing to shoot. One more thing. Bet you didn't know that. I know I didn't. How about the Eiffel Tower? The Eiffel Tower, you've seen it a million times, right? Well, yeah, so have I. So when I go, I shoot the classic shot and then I shoot something that I hadn't seen before. And it's a very obvious picture. Anybody go in there, stand there, look up, that's what you see. But I hadn't seen that in intricate lattice work like that before. Hadn't seen it. So these are things that are easy to do. It's not as hard as you think. You just think about perspective, lens choice, time of day. Not that hard, really, if you're thinking about it. You know, the good news is that we have all sorts of opportunities to surprise people, even with famous landmarks, because they're just not worked very thoroughly. People don't think about this. Show people a different angle. Let them get a good look at something they've seen all their lives. As I travel, I find no matter where I go, no matter how famous something is, I can shoot it in a new and different way. And you can too. Doesn't mean that we're geniuses, just means that other people haven't put any thought into anything, really. It's just postcard picture after postcard picture from the same place, okay? Let's look at another one. Rome, the Colosseum. I've seen a million pictures of the Colosseum. But I wanted to do it to show the pace of Rome, a little bit more fast-paced. This is a very fast-paced city. I didn't just want to show a ruin standing there. I went at night, I used a tripod, a cable release, and a very slow shutter speed. You get all this blur of color and activity. It looks very dramatic. I think it would have been better if I'd gotten there a bit earlier to get more blue in the sky, get a little bit more ambient light in the sky. I got there a little late, there are no excuses, but I was on vacation. But at least this shows you can do something unusual or even weird out of something you've seen for a long time, even one of the most famous buildings on Earth. You know, the other thing I'll do is I'll include my family in pictures at famous places or in pictures I think need a little bit more energy. Obviously, on a family vacation, you'll want to do this too, but it's not just about making pictures of the iconic, but about getting the whole family out and showing everyone as they're looking around and discovering these places you go to, whether they're famous or not. For example, when we were in Italy, I had little Spencer, and he was always out running ahead of us. And I was thinking, well, should I control him? Should I try to get in front of him? I thought, okay, let's use that. Let's not fight it. Let's work it. If he's ahead of me on some street in a little Italian village, fine. If his shirt matches the color of the walls in the alley, we can do that. The street makes him pop out nice and clean. Or how about this? Even better, he's in this big column of trees wearing his little kid's clothes. You wonder what he's looking at there. You wonder what's going on in his head. Has he heard something off the side? Is a big bad wolf there? I don't know. But it has more of an iconic feel. And I love pictures like this where you can see only the back of someone and they're looking off like they've heard a strange sound or seen something wonderful. It makes me wonder. We're always taking pictures of people's faces, and faces are good, but you know, it gives it away in a way, especially if you're photographing somebody who's smiling for the camera. Where's the mystery in that? Sometimes a picture of someone from the back can be very good and very interesting. Better, in fact, than straightforward smiling at the camera. To me, photos that ask more questions than they answer are among the most intriguing of all. They really are. Also, I went to Antarctica recently with my wife, Kathy. And this is a very straightforward picture. She's staring at the camera, she's smiling. This is exactly what I told you not to do, right? Exactly what I was just griping about. Well, I can do a good shot of penguins. I sure can. But you know, this was her first time being with penguins on land in Antarctica. And it's just a nice snapshot and she's happy and that's the moment. It's nice, it's great, it gives us context. Is it a great picture? No. But it's the moment when she first saw penguins, so it means something to both of us. And besides, it does show where we are. We have a sense of where we are there. Could it be better? Yeah, sure, absolutely. But we see mountains, icebergs, penguins in the background. It's fine, it's fine. Maybe later on, we're out in the kayak Maybe that gets us a little bit more of an intriguing picture, a little bit more of a craftsmanship thing going on here where it's a little bit better. But, you know, we're on vacation. I'm trying to improve what I have in Antarctica. Neither of these are the greatest, but this was our first time, so it meant a lot to both of us. And we were having fun and we were on vacation. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. I'm really, really trying to have fun and make some meaningful pictures at the same time. I don't shoot every second of the day. I shoot when I want to. So let's look at another one. A short drive through my home state of Nebraska. We take these little mini vacations close to home. It's a nice way to get away for the weekend. There's a place that's one of my favorites out in western Nebraska along I-80, the interstate, in Paxton. Paxton, Nebraska is home to Ole's Big Game Lounge. Well, that's kind of my kind of place. Very interesting. Lots of stuffed animals in there. Big polar bear and people sitting in booths all around it. It tells the story of the place. What I really like about this picture is my son Cole's in there in the yellow shirt. He's one of the people in the restaurant, right there in the booth. I love it when I can get a nice storytelling image of a place that also contains a family member. To me, that's just the best. And it's a departure from traditional family pictures, isn't it? It's just a way about recording the moment. We were in this restaurant. It's very moody. It's about getting good pictures, but also showing family members in there looking around. So it's a way of combining interesting pictures with family members. Very different way of looking at your vacation pictures then. You know, on vacation, I still scope out things before I shoot too. I prepare. I try to figure out a way to make the best frame in that place. And then I'll include my family members in it once in a while. And it's really as much about the quality of the picture then as it is getting a picture of them. I don't quit thinking about seeing well and doing good work just because I'm on vacation. I really try to make the vacation pictures just as good as anything else I do. For example, on that same trip to Italy where little Spencer was, there were several frames that were lovely, several scenes that were lovely, but I need a person in them. So here's Cole running through a big wheat field. Nice. Gives us a little bit more of a splash. I'd shot the wheat field without him. Now here's another picture of Cole running by a swimming pool at a little villa we were staying at. Nice scene, fine landscape, kind of boring. It really helps to have Cole in there. We've introduced a family member into it, and look at him go. He's athletic, that kid. That's fine. Really livens it up, helps a ton. Or let's see, how about a picture of the Mona Lisa? Of course, this isn't the real Mona Lisa. People will be in trouble. But just fun things that say Italy. It's just set up for the tourists to take their pictures with. And that's okay. It's a lot of fun. Could be daughter Ellen sitting gazing into the distance. Could be her looking out the window of a train. I like this one better for a landscape because there's movement, right? There's a little bit, she's looking out the beautiful Tuscan countryside and we've got a slow shutter speed going and we're really with her on the train with her hair blowing in the wind. And it's a shot maybe at a 30th of a second or so, 15th of a second. I love that feeling of movement, both in her hair and the countryside going by. The world's in a blur. This would be a nice frame if it was anybody in there. But it's Ellen, my daughter, so that makes it special. The light's soft, her face stands out well because we've got that blurred background. It's just a simple little picture, nothing grandiose about it. I don't know that it would run in National Geographic. In fact, it wouldn't. But it's my daughter, and that makes it say something to me. So to sum up, you don't want to waive all the rules just because it's your family standing in front of stuff that's famous, right? If you're smart, you're visiting famous places when the light's good, you're up at dawn, you're taking pictures, probably by yourself because your family's not going to want to get up that early, and I can't blame them. They are on vacation. But you have another chance with your family at sunset. When the tourists are all having dinner, you're out shooting. You've had a late lunch when the light is harsh. You know you don't want to fight that harsh light. And now when the light's great, you're out shooting. You can always have a late dinner with your family, but you can't tell the sun to hold off for a while on setting. So I know that eating is a big thing on vacation, and I hear about it all the time from my wife and kids. It's one of the joys of being on vacation, great meals, relaxing. But try to remember that you only get good light twice a day. You should not miss that good light, vacation or not. Have a late dinner, make it fun for them, buy the kids extra dessert, whatever it takes to have them with you so you can incorporate them into these good pictures. Be out there when the sun's setting. Have your family with you. You know, they're just going to be enjoying what they're seeing, not hamming it up for the camera, and never in bad light. Please, never. You know, your best picture from vacation might actually just be your kids asleep in the back of the car on the way home, exhausted from all the fun they've had at the state fair. That could be the best picture. And to me, it is probably the best picture I got that day or that week. Totally. You know, one of the things I do, especially traveling abroad, is I'll enlist the help of a local. That's very important, to have a good person in the field. Whether it's a friend or a family member, a hired guide, there's no substitute for a local person with firsthand knowledge. Firsthand knowledge, somebody that lives there. You know, it may be an additional expense to you, but I've found it's really money well spent. A local person that's friendly and knows what they're doing, they can help you navigate any new culture and any new place. It really saves you a lot of time and makes for a lot better photos. They can take you, for example, to the places they know will make great photos. They know what festivals are going on. If they're photo savvy, they'll even know the best vantage points. They'll know a rooftop or two you can get on to get an overview. They're gonna know everything because they live there. How's this for a bonus? They're gonna know the best places to eat too. Even when I'm going on a personal trip, I'll hire a local if I'm going abroad. I'll spend my own money to do it, and that says something. For example, let's take a look at a little trip I made to Italy not long ago with my father and uncle. We went over there because we're Italian, and we got a local guy to help show us around the Sartori home country, right? They'd never been, I'd been one time. My father had never been out of the United States, and he was 82 years old at the time. So we had an excellent couple of guys show us around, and we went to this little bitty town in Italy, one that doesn't have anybody really that speaks English. And these photography friends that I'd met through the web basically agreed to take us around to the mountains up north. It was a rainy day, but we had a great time. You know, the thing about it is, not only is the language different, the cemeteries look different. The food, the displays in the shops, everything looks totally different to us. Nobody speaks a word of English. So it's really important for us to get out and see the real villages with somebody that we knew was going to show us around very well and tell us what things meant. We could concentrate then on learning about our family's heritage and the best places to go eat, of course, all right? But that doesn't mean that my father necessarily liked it. In fact, prosciutto, he won't touch it. You know, we weren't going to any tourist areas, so having that guide who could speak English as well as Italian, man, that was critical to enjoying our brief time there. Best of all, my guide was actually a friend, one I'd traded photo tips with over the years, so that made it a bonus. I got to spend time with him too. You know, if you're trying to make contacts with folks in other countries where you've not visited before, I always start by contacting the people I know who have already been there and find out what they did and who they had helping them. I call people I know. If somebody's been to Egypt recently, I call them and say, who did you have help you in Egypt? I work the networks, what few networks I have, right? I try to figure it out that way. If that doesn't work, I'll widen my search to include travel agencies to see if they book trips to that area. And if so, who do they use as guides? Or maybe I'll want to hire the agency myself. I'll also want to do some research via the web, of course, and see if there's a college or a university in the area, and then contact their journalism department to see if I can get lined up with a student, maybe a student assistant who's from that area. The list goes on, but you get the idea, right? Not only is the National Geographic website, by the way, a great place to get general information on the place you're visiting. Lonely Planet guides are good too. Terrific, actually, in terms of getting you the background info you need on a particular place. Everywhere from where to eat and stay to areas to be avoided. That's really critical too. Now, a couple of general tips. Number one, something I always do, keep your eye on your camera gear. Do not leave it unattended while you shoot or even when you're not shooting. If you have to leave it in a car, stash it in the trunk where it can't be seen. Don't tempt anybody if you want to continue shooting during your trip. Make sure you do not leave your gear out. Sometimes you'll need to take even more precautions. If you have somebody who's a helper, translator, or fixer that can kind of stand watch while you're looking through your viewfinder, that's good. It helps to have somebody on the lookout while you obliviously look through that viewfinder because it's blinders on you. It really helps keep gear in your hands longer. Really does. You know, if your camera's going to be near water, be sure to protect it. This means rain too. Don't forget, rain can ruin your camera just as surely as anything. High humidity can even wreck your camera. Use specialized covers or just plain plastic bags, Ziploc bags, trash bags. I work for National Geographic, so I need this specialized type of gear, but you probably won't. A Ziploc bag should take care of things for you, okay? Keep a towel or a chamois handy to dry your gear off quickly if it gets wet. Hopefully it won't get wet. I'll also take an airtight plastic shipping case for my gear and a sock or two full of desiccants to dry the gear out if it gets damp. I'll literally leave the gear in there with the desiccants overnight and dry soak them to get them up and running the next day. If you're going to be doing anything over water, in canoes, kayaks, little boats, there are inexpensive underwater housings available for just about all cameras now, including many point and shoots. Consider buying or renting one of those housings because they're kind of expensive to just buy outright. You can rent them. And photograph your kids while they swim, for example. You know, as a percentage, there are not many underwater pictures taken. That means there's a lot of room for great work in this category. This is the way to really make pictures stand out when you're on vacation. Let's take a look. When I went to vacation in the Galapagos, for example, I took an underwater camera with me. It was great because there were lots of chances to use it. There were sea lions laying around the beach. It's amazing. The animals are just right there with you. Other tourists there too. It's nice. But you know what? I did my homework and I knew that we'd have lots of time in the water. I made sure I had an adequate housing to go in there. Why? Well, because most of the tours are during the middle of the day. But because we're shooting underwater, that terrible light in the middle of the day, that's what we want. For shooting underwater, that harsh light illuminates underneath the sea and makes for some amazing photo possibilities at a time of the day when you would never dream of shooting outside. Look at this. Fantastic. Absolutely. Galapagos sea lions, the middle of the day when the light's the worst, that's when you're going to get the most light on your subject underwater. That's the exact time you'd want to shoot under the water, is when you'd never dream of shooting above the surface, right? If you tried to shoot when the light was really lovely above, out on land, it'd be too dark and gray underneath the waves. So the middle of the day, that's a great time for shooting underwater. How about that? Amazing. What a fabulous place, by the way. If you ever get a chance to go, quite lovely. And it's as if it's always been like that. My son Cole goofing around. He wanted his senior picture taken wearing a suit and tie underwater. Well, I told you, it's about making unusual vacation pictures, right? Mission accomplished. It's a fabulous, fabulous place. You know, for this last shot, it's actually inside a sea cave in the Galapagos. I experimented with holding a camera half in and half out of the water. It's in an underwater housing, okay? I used a very large aperture number, a tiny hole in the lens, to produce a good depth of field, right? Probably like f/16 or so. I'm not using some special filter or technique, just a small hole in the lens that really gets me a lot of things in focus. I used a wide lens, that helped as well, keep a lot of things in focus. It helps compensate for the fact that the density in water and air are different, so they focus differently. By having a very small hole in the lens and a high aperture number, I can pull this off. And I love this. It's kind of weird, totally unexpected. It was just during a snorkel in the middle of the day. The back of the cave is backlit, but the swimmers are out of the light, so they're silhouettes. How nice and unexpected. And it's because I had an underwater camera with me. You can get these very, very inexpensively now, and they're really a lot of fun to shoot. You can buy little point and shoot underwater cameras right off the cruise ships at the gift shops. No reason not to try it. So your assignment, shoot a very famous place, but in a way that's all your own. Remember how I talked about the Statue of Liberty? Walking around behind her, taking a look up, look down. I want you to go to a famous place and really have a good look at it and shoot everything you can. Do really tight pictures, loose pictures, people out on the lawn around the Statue of Liberty. Whatever. It's a very famous place, and yet some of these pictures don't even have the statue in them. That's okay. We need to try to start thinking differently. Let's really work things well and find the surprises. Remember, as you go forward, whatever city you live in has some famous aspect to it, something that's been very commonly photographed again and again, and hence commonly seen for years and years. Make sure you do your best to find your own way of seeing it. I'm sure you can do it. So, go out there and try it. It is a lot of fun.